All right, listen, I'm just gonna level with y'all. I missed last week because I broke my arm. I'm not going to show you, but it is gnarly. I get some more scans done tomorrow. We'll see how bad and if I need surgery. But we're just gonna pretend. We're just gonna do a time loop, pretend it doesn't happen, and I'm just gonna recap the last two episodes, which is episode 4 and 5. Luckily, I can do that with the one hand. Okay, so we watched 4. 4 was fantastic. I actually really enjoyed it. It did confirm a lot of the things that we had suspected and was a nice subversion, explosion, change of pace to the 3 that felt like a lot of, okay, we got to get everyone caught up. And so that was nice. 4 fulfilled a lot of the things. I was like, okay, I'm a little tired of just recap, again and again. Reina being confirmed crazy. Some people are still saying, I don't know, I think Keiichi was hallucinating. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But I definitely think Reina was the one who was crazy in there. Keiichi did seem to show symptoms after the fact. Maybe he was struggling with it, but he was definitely not at level 5, at least until he was attacked. So, bam, called it. Very happy. I like that. The one weird as heck thing about that scene was the way the confrontation went down, where he seemed to take her down with a clock and survived 39 stab wounds. So that does lead a little bit of credence to something more going on here. Something else is going a little funky, to be sure. And we don't know the full details, but I do think it's confirmed that at the very least Reina was actually crazy. Some people pointed out that because of the little snippets of her being gone and stuff like that, that possibly her arc, where her father is being taken advantage of by this, basically a hooker, um, is happening in the background, and these two arcs are kind of converging, and so Keiichi's slight, even though not complete paranoia, but suspicions of her lead her to think that he's gonna call the police and da 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 da, and murders are going on, so on and so forth. Possible that's going on in the background. I think that's pretty reliable. I think there's a lot of arcs going on at the same time, because at the same time we also have Satoko and Rika dying, which I mentioned to my wife. I was like, hey, Rika doesn't normally die there. She normally dies at the shrine. They're like, oh, so they said she died near the shrine. I was like, no, she dies like on the shrine every time. There's only like one other arc where that doesn't happen. And, that's the one where, well, I guess I say one other arc. I know there's the answer arc that has similar, but the I'm being called. Oh, it's my alarm. I gotta go to work soon. Be an adult with my one arm. But anyway, they Rika died in the way where it's usually Shion who's responsible for that. It doesn't mean it's necessarily Shion, but that's worth noting. There's a lot of little notes and things that are going on. The point is, though, that basically everything we've predicted so far has come true. They are just subverting arcs. There's the deception. It's supposed to be, oh, it's like the original arc, but now it's different. And that did, so this is going to be a weird because we're reviewing 4 and 5. It does confirm both my greatest hopes and my greatest fears, because immediately episode 5 goes into being very similar to the same, the episode 5 of the original show, where they all play the games, and there's some differences, and I think it's going to be one of those things that you might enjoy going back and re-watching potentially later when you know what's going on, because I think there's probably even more differences than are immediately apparent, or there's differences we notice but we don't know the significance of yet. What is the significance of Reina missing school? Like, some people have said it, they think it's because of Teppei's influence and all that, which is, fine, and Reina's dad. But I think there's a lot of things where we go, oh, that's different! And we just have to wait and see. And it is both really fun and really not fun, because it does add new suspense to old scenes. Great example, in episode 5. There's the whole Mion Shion thing, and in the original you weren't sure if Shion even existed. You weren't sure if Shion existed or if it was just Mion pretending to be Shion, and in this one, there's that same confusion again, because we know Shion exists, but we've got pretty good reason to believe that most of the Shion scenes in this episode 5 were actually Mion. A great example is that the credits only credit the voice actress as Mion, which sometimes would indicate that it was only Mion. I think that's a little bit much, but the point is, she and she acted differently, more flushed, and things that seemed to indicate that maybe in this case it was just Mion and not Mion and Shion. Things like that. So it is fun, but it has turned it into a bit of a Where's Waldo. And I get that he's like that. As Ryukishi 7 has continued his writing, he has enjoyed more and more, I'd say. I know they were always supposed to be puzzles that are supposed to be solved, but as they've gone on, it's become more and more that. Especially Yumeneko is like the embodiment from the little bit I've read so far. Finished chapter 1 and on chapter 2. Whee! The embodiment of this back and forth, between author and reader. And there is definitely elements of that in Higurashi, but I'd say as his writing has progressed, he has gotten more and more, I don't want to say obsessed, but concerned, prolific with this theme. I don't know what you want to call it. It's more and more of a focus for him. The original, I feel like, was a story first and a mystery second. Maybe I'm wrong, whereas Yumeneko seems to be a mystery first and a story second. But we'll see as it continues on. But it's very... And the thing is, it's turned Higurashi into a closer experience so far as Yumeneko was, where I'm less concerned about the story and the overarching themes and more concerned with the specific mysteries. Which is fine, but it definitely is a different tone than the original. Which is, again, it's a sequel. You can't recreate that same tone perfectly. But it is different, and it's worth acknowledging that. I don't know. I actually don't have a ton to say so far. I'm keeping up with all the theories. I'm going to keep reviewing and going over these. But I guess we'll see how this goes. I guess for the new... I'll post my theories here in my video that no one's going to watch. But my new theory for this one is I do think it was mostly Mion being Shion. It's possible Shion was involved. Maybe even Shion got the doll, because I'm just trying to think of how you could reverse them. But... definitely, I think Mion was actually working at Angel Mort, and I think definitely Mion brought the food to Keiichi as well. Don't know why. Some people have said, hey, maybe Mion... This is a good point. This is something you're going to do, which I don't like. Mion is the only one who never went crazy and got Hinamizawa syndrome, which is cool. I think they're going to undo that now. It'd be a cool rule to stick to. But I get knowing that, because we know that, that means if you're going to subvert expectations and do something different, you kind of have to break that rule, which sucks. But, because it's one of my favorite things about Mion, she never went crazy. But, anyway, so that means Mion's probably going to be pretty culpable of some bad things in this one, potentially. Although it really would subvert her expectations if that wasn't the case. But, so it's possible Mion has replaced Shion at this point. Maybe even killed her. I doubt it this early, but I definitely think Mion is taking the place where Shion was at the original a lot of times. I would also say that some people are pointing out that Keiichi, one of the things that makes him get really paranoid and crazy is learning about Satoko, and if Shion is involved in this one, or even Mion pretending to be Shion, that would be... Not Satoko, I'm so sorry, Satoshi. Learning about Satoshi. And potentially learning about Satoshi in this one because Shion's involved. This could be where he learns about Satoshi, and this is where he goes crazy. Those are both good theories. I'm leaning towards Mion being the culprit, or at least being really difficult and problematic in getting the syndrome, because she's the only one who hasn't, and this would be the perfect place to mix it up. It makes you think, oh, Shion's going to be bad, but it is actually Mion. Ooh, you got us. So yeah, I'm excited. I don't necessarily love the Where's Waldo aspect of the show, because it does mean that I'll put it this way, I'm actually really enjoying the show because the remake portions I get to experience anew with my wife, and that's really fun. So I get to enjoy her reaction to some of the scenes I've seen before, and she laughed at the game stuff. I'm like, oh, that's fun. But the me who's not, if I was watching this by myself without her, it's like, okay, I've seen this before, and I know there's like one minute detail different than it used to be, but just, I don't know. It just seems like I got a cat. Hello. Say hello to everyone. Okay, I'll let you go. It just seems like it has become a game of Where's Waldo. I expect that to change at some point, but I think it's going to change a little bit longer than I wanted. I wanted it to be Where's Waldo for one arc, and then poof, off the edge, and just be like wildly different. But they're not doing that. So I'll admit, I'm mildly disappointed by that. I don't know what y'all think. But I also get a lot of people haven't read or watched the original, and this is a great way to capitalize on it. So, ta-da! What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? Oh, one last thing. I definitely still think Rika has an opponent who is doing things. I think even maybe that opponent's pretending to be Hanyu, or Hanyu's doing something. I don't know. There's definitely a supernatural force. I know there's always supernatural force involved, but I think Rika has a supernatural opponent in this world. And I'm excited to find out about that, because I kind of feel like that's when the story's actually going to start a little bit. Just because, you know what I'm talking about. You understand. You picking up what I'm putting down. Anyway, my name's Dolan Malma. God bless.